What's going on, everybody? John again with Grace, Liberty, and the finished work of Jesus Christ. On my way to go do some early voting here in Clark County, Nevada. And let's talk a little bit about Jesus while we drive. Thank you, by the way, for driving along with me on my drive-by devotionals. I want to talk about mercy. Mercy, by definition, has to do with the relieving of the consequences of sin. In other words, not getting what you deserve. God is extremely merciful. Not only does the Bible tell us, but you can see it. For all the things that we've done, for all the ways that we've failed, hell, all the ways that unbelievers fail, this whole world should have been toast a long time ago. But God is merciful. And God is patient. I want to express that because people will look at the Old Testament and they will say, well, God was more angry back then, and God was a God of wrath, and he was always blowing stuff up and whatever. That's not true. You got to remember that the Old Testament takes place over a much, much greater time period than the New Testament. Right? The New Testament may be 100 years, right? Not counting Revelation, because that's in the future. Okay, you got the 30 years that Jesus was alive, and a few decades after that where the apostles were writing their epistles. The Old Testament, you're talking at least a few thousand years, at least. Probably more, because you're talking about from the beginning of creation with Adam and Eve, okay? And if you look at the time periods, there wasn't just, you made a mistake and you were like wiped out. Israel messed up over and over and over and over and over and over again. And hundreds of years later or 100 years later, okay, something happened. And even then, God was merciful. He always said, I'm here. Turn back to me. I love you. And God has been extremely merciful to all of us. So that's the first thing. Let's talk about mercy for me and for you. You know how many times I've failed, and failed big, and expected to see a piano drop on my head or some form of terrible punishment, only to have something bless me, something good happen. Mercy and then grace. Our nation here in the United States, God has been extremely patient and extremely merciful. However, Galatians 6:7, be not deceived, God will not be mocked. But he's been merciful and patient with our nation. He's been merciful and been patient with you. And so we need to thank him and praise him for that mercy. Recognize that he's merciful. Recognize how awesome and amazing he is. Because he is extremely merciful. So that being said, my friends, God bless, and I will catch you later.